As President Trump shared with the American people last night, the United States military is making tremendous strides towards achieving our military objectives for Operation Epic Fury. 10 days in, this campaign has been a
10 days already
success thus far, and America's warriors are winning this important fight at an even faster pace than we anticipated.
Great.
More than 5,000 enemy targets have been struck so far.
That's a lot of targets.
Iran's ballistic missile attacks are down more than 90%, and their drone attacks are down by approximately 85% since the start of Operation Epic Fury. The United States is also annihilating the Iranian regime's navy, and we have destroyed more than 50 Iranian naval vessels,
you said 51.
including a major
I thought they were out of ships.
Ship. None of the regime's vessels are operating in major regional waterways, and the Iranian Navy has been assessed as combat ineffective.
Oh, so it's
deleted? The trend is clear. U.S. combat capabilities are increasing and growing more lethal and dominant by the day, while the Iranian terrorist regime's ability to respond has rapidly declined. Now, the U.S. military is moving to dismantle Iran's missile production infrastructure. Our incredible B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs on deeply buried missile sites.
Wow.
Last night, President Trump reiterated his commitment toward keeping oil flowing through the Strait of Hormuz.
That's right.
So the United States and all of our allies can receive their energy needs.
Wow.
President Trump will not allow rogue Iranian terrorists to stop the freedom of navigation and the free flow of energy.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Let me be clear. It is a good thing to wipe out terrorists who indiscriminately target civilians and attempt to hold the global economy hostage. And President Trump should be commended
Cuba's
for doing
next.
So.
Oh, Cuba's it's already over.
Unequivocally clear to the remaining elements of this terrorist regime in his statement yesterday. If they do anything to stop the flow of oil or goods within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the world's most powerful military 20 times harder than they have been hit thus far.
So they're just going to get deleted.
The stated objectives for Operation Epic Fury remain the same. Destroy the terrorist regime's ballistic missiles, raise their Iranian missile industry to the ground, ensure their terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region, and ensure that Iran never obtains a nuclear weapon. President Trump remains confident these goals will be accomplished in swift fashion.
It's like a purge?
As for the oil,
it's like a purge.
President Trump fully expected the rogue Iranian regime to try and disrupt the global markets. That's why President Trump and his energy team have been planning for this long before the strike and have moved quickly to address these temporary disruptions. Thus far, the Trump administration has offered political risk insurance to tankers operating in the Gulf.
Oh, I saw that.
The Treasury temporarily waived certain oil-related sanctions, and the Commander-in-Chief has offered the U.S. Navy to escort tankers when necessary.
That's nice.
The President and his energy team are closely watching the markets, speaking with industry leaders, and the U.S. military is drawing up additional options following the President's directive to continue keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. I will not broadcast what those options look like, but just know the President is not afraid to use them. Rest assured to the American
nuclear
people,
bomb.
The recent increase in oil and gas prices is temporary, and this operation will result in lower gas prices.
Has gas gone up for you guys?
Once the national security objectives of Operation Epic Fury are fully achieved, Americans will see oil and gas prices drop rapidly, potentially even lower than they were prior to the start of the operation. And we will live in a world where Iran can no longer threaten the United States or our allies with a nuclear bomb.
That'd be good.
On another matter here at home, President Trump is urging Congress to pass the Save America Act, one of the most critical pieces of legislation in our nation's history.
Wow.
The Save America Act is overwhelmingly popular with all Americans because each provision is rooted in
30
cents.
Common sense.
I
don't even really check for gas a lot.
The Save America Act has 5 simple requirements as requested by the President of the United States.
I don't know about gas prices, work my ass off to not be poor.
Voters have to show ID to cast a ballot in an American election.
I still usually try to pay attention.
90% of Americans, including more than 80% of Democrat voters, agree with this. Number 2, the Save America Act will require all voters to show proof of citizenship in order to register to vote.
Imagine
in
not
American
wanting people
elections.
to show citizenship.
Again, this is
like how can you be against that?
Only American citizens
so
have
retarded.
the right to vote in American elections.
I don't know how you
Joe
can even
Biden
get there.
And the Democrats allowed tens of millions of illegal aliens into our country, It's more important than ever to ensure that only American citizens are registering to vote on our nation's voter rolls. And Congress
you have to be a
needs
cheater.
To pass this.
Yeah.
Number 3, the Save America Act abolishes the incredibly unsecure practice of universal mail-in ballots, which throw the door wide open for fraud.
Yeah.
Importantly, the Save America Act maintains exceptions for Americans to use mail-in ballots like for illness,
sick or something,
disability,
that's fine.
military, or travel reasons.
Yeah.
The bipartisan 2005 report of the Commission on Federal Election Reform, chaired by, of all people, former President Jimmy Carter and former Secretary of State James Baker, concluded that, quote, absentee ballots remain the largest source of potential voter fraud, and it is time for Congress to finally address this. Number 4, the Save America Act permanently bans men from competing in women's sports. President Trump signed a landmark executive order upholding the promise of Title IX and ending this dangerous and unfair practice.
Oh my God, this is a transgenocide.
This into law.
Oh my
Number
God.
5, the Save America Act bans transgender mutilation surgery for children. Again, President Trump signed a common sense executive order to do this and kept his promise to the American people, but now Congress needs to do the same and codify
they obviously
it.
should
It's
do
well
that.
past time for Democrats in Congress to stop perpetuating the radical and false claim that you can somehow change a child's sex. You cannot.
It's sick.
Passing the Save America Act is the most important thing that Republicans
the fact that people play along with that bullshit is it's so dangerous.
Protect our democracy.
It's ridiculous.
It's what the American people elected Republicans to do, and they must deliver on it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The president is calling on Congress to get the job done and send this historic piece of legislation to his desk immediately.
Some of them are. I don't know about all of them.
So with that today, I will take your questions. Benny, thank you for being here, and why don't you start us off?
Thank you, Karoline. So my first question is actually about the Save America Act. So one of the biggest things that the Democrats are saying, the claims that they're making, is that the Save America Act, it would prevent married women from voting in elections or make it harder for them. What do you have to say to those claims?
Oh my
God. Is there any validity to them, and where do you think they're getting this from?
There is zero validity to these claims, and I'm glad that you brought them up, because you have the Democrats who have created this myth that has been perpetuated, unfortunately,
it's not disenfranchising women?
Media. Let me be very clear. The Save America Act does not prohibit anyone from voting, with the exception of illegal aliens. And the greatest way to disenfranchise American citizens from voting in American elections is to allow illegal aliens to vote.
I'm out,
which is what Democrats want to do.
I don't know about this one, guys.
In Democrat jurisdictions at the state and local level.
I'm not for it anymore.
Yeah. So the Save America Act corrects that. And as far as married women who have changed their name, if they're already registered to vote, they're entirely unaffected by the Save Act. And for the small fraction of individuals who have changed their name or their address, they can still register to vote, of course. They just have to go through their state processes to update that documentation. And this is something that the American people, married women, and minorities, and people all across this country who Democrats are insultingly saying cannot do this, they're already doing it every day, going to the Social Security office.
Yeah, they can't go to the DMV. It's impossible for a woman or a black person to figure out where the DMV is.
To allow them to vote.
The only person that can figure out where a DMV is a white man. Black people don't even know what DMV is.
The funding issue has been 3+ weeks now. I was at the airport this morning in
They don't even know what the word is.
And it was early in the morning, and one of the TSA agents, I saw she was kind of
so true, brother.
And I asked her, I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, I can't make my phone payment. I can barely make my car payment that's coming up. I think a lot in the Beltway, there's so much noise between Democrats, Republicans. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault.
Yeah.
Well, what is the White House's message to the American people that are struggling because they're not getting that paycheck?
It's the Democrats' fault. Tell them it's the Democrats' fault.
What do you have to say to those people?
What do you mean? What do you have to say? That are poor.
The Department of Homeland Security. He wants TSA, he wants FEMA, he wants the brave men and women of our United States Coast Guard to receive their paychecks, and he wants this department to be fully funded and fully reopened. And so to any American
don't forget, they don't have these computers.
Without a paycheck,
they don't even know what the word computer is.
100,000 of you across the country. To any American out there who is showing up to an airport and facing incredibly long wait times and lines, Call your Democrat member of Congress and tell them to fund the Department of Homeland Security. That's what President Trump wants to do, and it's completely ridiculous that the American people are suffering as a result of these partisan games that are being played by Democrats on Capitol Hill. Thank you.
How's their audio bad? I think it's fine.
You said the operation was going faster than anticipated. What is your current timeline for how long?
You're not going to. He's not going to. Why would you ask
as you
that?
know, Steve, the president and the U.S.
Why would you even? Why would you waste our time with this?
Was about 4 to 6 weeks to achieve the full objectives of Operation Epic Fury. Again, to destroy their missiles and their ability to make them, destroy their navy, permanently deny them nuclear weapons forever, and to, of course, weaken
the war's
going to
be over in 7 days from now.
We know that the U.S. military and our brave warfighters are quickly and expeditiously executing these objectives well ahead of schedule. But ultimately, the operations will end when the commander-in-chief determines the military objectives have been met, fully realized, and that Iran is in a position of complete and unconditional surrender, whether they say it or not.
Does the president still want Iran's unconditional surrender?
Well, when President Trump says that Iran is in a place of unconditional surrender, he's not claiming the Iranian regime is going to come out and say that themselves. What the president means is that Iran's threats will no longer be backed by a ballistic missile arsenal that protects them from
It's just going to be a bunch of idiots talking shit.
I could make an empty threat, but if I have no actions to back it up, then it's an empty threat. And so President Trump will determine when Iran is in a place of unconditional surrender, when they no longer pose a credible and direct threat to the United States of America and our allies. Adriana.
Can you explain why the Energy Secretary posted and then appeared to have deleted a post on X saying that the U.S. Navy escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz?
What?
Yes, I was made aware of this post. I haven't
that was
had a
a
chance
fuck
to talk
up,
to the
huh?
Energy Secretary
Kind of messed
about
up.
it directly. However, I know the post
We're going
was
to be there
taken
for a
down
long
pretty
time.
quickly, and I can confirm
Somebody said
that
15
the
years.
US Navy has
We're
not
going to be in
escorted
Iran
a
for
tanker or
15
vessel
years.
at this time, though of course that's an
That's a
option
long
the president
time.
has said he will absolutely utilize if and when necessary at the appropriate
Just
time.
the way it is.
Something that was posted erroneously.
20 years?
Could it be because of a staffer? What, I guess.
It's bullshit. Yeah. Like 15 days.
I know you still have to consult, but just generally speaking.
Again, I would defer you to the Department of Energy to answer that question.
And if I could just follow up really quickly.
Sure.
In terms of oil sanctions, the president said that there would be some sanctions. What that would be lifted? Would those be on Venezuela, Russia?
What do you mean? Iran will be the 51st state? No, Cuba will be.
I know it's something that the Treasury Department and
it's going to
the
be Cuba.
President's energy team continue to discuss, and they will ultimately consult with the president before decisions are made. I don't have any announcements on new sanctions or the lifting of new sanctions for you today. Alex.
Thank you. Reuters has reported that about 150 U.S. service members have been injured so far. Can you confirm that
150?
number and elaborate on that?
That's a lot.
I can't confirm the exact number. I know it's within that ballpark, but I would defer you to the Pentagon.
I'm surprised that many got injured, but
wounded or injured thus far.
very few got killed.
And then secondly, if I can, I wanted to ask about...
when does Minnesota become a state again? We're going to send...
There was a briefing on the Capitol Hill today, and some senators came out and said they were more convinced than ever that there would be U.S. boots on the ground. Senator Blumenthal said that. In fact,
they think that there's
your reaction to that.
There's troops on the ground?
Any update on President Trump's
Why would they think that?
Look, I would say that Democrats on Capitol Hill are clearly being quite disingenuous. 3 years ago,
you think gas prices will go even lower after the conflict?
Voted,
it depends on what happens.
Against the resolution condemning Iran as the world's leading state sponsor of terror. Yet now, with President Trump as commander-in-chief finally taking
if they stop being retarded, then they're going to go a lot lower, probably.
Called on the commander-in-chief to do for many years to wipe out the threat of a rogue Iranian terrorist regime. Now, all of a sudden, Democrats are playing politics with this long-standing bipartisan policy of the United States.
Everybody hated Iran.
And 53 of them in the House recently voted against the resolution condemning Iran as the world's state sponsor.
Yeah, it's retarded.
So I wouldn't take Democrats
47-year low.
As for boots on the ground, the president
I doubt
has
that.
Talked about this repeatedly. Wisely, he does not rule options out as commander-in-chief. So again, I would hesitate to confirm anything that a Democrat on Capitol Hill says right now about the president's thinking. Garrett.
John, you outlined
really
to Steve the military components of what would be involved in ending this war, but it seems like there's a political component too. The president said to Fox earlier today that he doesn't believe the new Ayatollah can live in peace. He made a variety of comments suggesting that he should be involved in picking the new Iranian leader.
Yeah.
Is the ending of this war also contingent on Iran selecting a leader that the president finds acceptable? And if so, how is that not the definition of a regime change war?
Well, that's a good question.
President Trump
that's a very good question.
Blatantly and frankly stated, it's obviously within the best interest of the United States and the West to no longer have a radical terrorist in charge.
Wait, what? I thought we loved terrorism.
Especially as we see their reaction
what do you mean?
To Operation Epic Fury. They had their missiles turned towards our Gulf and Arab partners in the region. Again, this was a regime that chanted, or still chants, death to America.
That's not a good one.
The way that they are holding the entire world hostage with the restricting of the free flow of energy through the Strait of Hormuz. So the president, I think, is making quite an obvious comment. Again, as for the timeline of the military operations with respect to Iran, we have objectives that we have laid out.
Yeah, shouldn't have said that.
Wants to see achieved.
Definitely a bad thing to say.
Then it will ultimately be
that death to America thing is a huge. It's a huge non-starter.
You're not exactly addressing my question, though. Is that political objective also necessary for the president to decide to end this war?
It depends.
Again, I just told you the objectives of Operation Epic Fury. When those objectives are met, the president will dictate the end of these operations when he deems that Iran no longer poses a credible threat to the United States of America.
Thank you.
And again, it goes back to what is
Why
that
don't they just call it a regime change war?
Like? Iran can talk all they want, and their words will be very empty when we've completely annihilated
worried about it not
Navy,
happening. That's the reason why.
Taken out the threat of their ballistic missile capability. When we
they know they can blow up all their missiles, but they don't know if they can change the government.
Make a nuclear bomb to threaten the United States and our allies and our troops in the region, and that's what President Trump is ultimately seeking to do.
There's also optics
with
to it,
respect to this operation. Jennifer,
there was a shooting outside of a synagogue in Baltimore. Do you know if the president has been briefed on that, and do you have any more details?
A synagogue in Baltimore.
I don't, but we certainly will get you more.
I'm sure they must be.
I don't know if the president has briefed, but I'll check on that when I get back to the Oval Office after this.
Sure, it must be a totally normal thing.
Caroline, the president said yesterday for the first time that he had to strike Iran because he believes that Iran was going to strike U.S. targets within 7 days, and then he bumped that down later to 3 days. Where is he getting that?
Well, that's not the first time the president has said that he chose to launch Operation.
He just made it up. That's where he got it. Everybody knows he just made it up.
The United States and our assets in the region first.
I mean, let's be honest.
I addressed this in the last briefing.
Yeah, it's a vibe. Like, I feel like they're gonna do some kind of shit.
Provided to him by his top negotiators.
I like this.
Engaged with the Iranian regime in a good faith effort. The Iranian regime was lying, deceiving the United States of America, clearly trying to continue their nuclear program to create a bomb that would, of course, threaten the United States of America. Again, their ballistic missile arsenal, they were rapidly and aggressively increasing that by the month to a place where they would essentially build immunity for themselves, where a future president or President Trump would not be able to launch this incredibly successful operation. And so the president, again, as I have reiterated and he has said, was not going to sit back and allow the Iranian regime to threaten or to attack the United States of America any longer.
It was only a matter of time.
Leaders or Israeli leaders who are making those same claims. So is he making this up to justify his decision to go to war now?
Yeah, he made the whole thing up.
Not making anything up.
He made the whole thing up.
Looking at
this
every single day based on intelligence, based on facts, and based on intelligence that he himself and his negotiators have
he read it on Twitter.
Consumed based on their, again, negotiations with the rogue Iranian regime over the past year.
Reporter.
And the president and his team tried in a good faith way to reach a diplomatic deal through peaceful means with the Iranian
Iranian like
regime.
These people are more interested in catching Trump and saying something wrong than actually
Iran wanted to attack the United
saying
States
anything
of
about
America,
the
and
news.
the president was not going to sit back and allow that to happen. He was not going to sit back and allow that to happen, and everyone in this room should be grateful for it.
Yeah.
John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Two questions for you. One has to do with a follow-up to your statement that you made at the beginning of the briefing regarding the Save America Act.
Sure.
Yesterday,
it's always about whether Trump was right or wrong. It's not like about whether a decision is good or bad. It's like surrounding him. It's always about like his reaction or his response to something.
The votes aren't there for a talking filibuster. He says that's the reality. What's your reaction to what Senator Leavitt said?
Look, I think President Trump, the urgency behind his need to pass the Save America Act and his desire to get this country-saving legislation passed has been made quite clear. He wants all options on the table, and he wants the Senate to move as quickly as possible through whatever means necessary.
And then secondly, just regarding the president's trip tomorrow, looking ahead, why Ohio and why Northern Kentucky?
Well, why not? These are two great states with great Americans.
Just wanted to know why they were chosen.
Great states with great Americans. The president will be joined by
We're going to bomb Ohio and
states,
Kentucky after Cuba.
Who he
That's the reason why.
And respects and supports.
Yeah,
and
that
he'll be meeting
but she can't say that yet.
These places and
It's a
talking
secret.
about the economy, which is of course the utmost importance to him.
Yeah. Minnesota, we're building up to it.
The Energy Secretary issued a waiver for India to get oil, Russian oils.
This might be a surprise, guys, but he's asking about India.
Have you spoken to the president about it? What's the idea behind this?
Have I spoken to the president about it?
Yeah.
Yes, I have spoken to the president about it.
Uh-huh.
And the president and the Secretary of Treasury and the whole national security team came to this decision because our allies in India, as you know, Leavitt, have been good actors and have previously stopped buying sanctioned Russian oil. So as we work to appease this temporary gap of oil supply around the world because of the Iranians, we have temporarily permitted them to accept that Russian oil. And this Russian oil was already at sea. It was already out on the water. So this short-term measure, we don't believe it will provide significant financial benefit to the Russian government at this time.
I have one more question about Pakistan. You know, Pakistan is a neighbor of Iran, and Pakistan is also an ally of U.S. President has been praising a lot about the field marshal. Is Pakistan providing any kind of support in this war against
Pakistan?
That I will have to check on with the Pentagon and get back to you.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
The president said yesterday that President Putin told him he wanted to be helpful in the Middle East.
President Putin wanted to help out?
Putin said, quote, "I would like to reaffirm our unwavering support for Tehran and our solidarity with Iranian friends." How does the president think that Russia could be helpful, if not
maybe by not
helping
saying that?
Iran? And did the president push Putin on Russia sharing intelligence with Iran in this war?
Why the fuck
The
would she know
president
that?
and his special envoy Witkoff have both said that, of course, they've sent a message to Russia that if that was taking place, it's not something they would be happy with.
tell them to stop.
That it is not taking
They're
place.
quit doing that.
As for further
It's
details
fucking
about
annoying.
the discussions between these two leaders, I'll leave it to the president to divulge any more of that conversation. But he did confirm it yesterday and provided you with a little bit of the background and his view and his perspective, as he always does.
Not a surprise.
Regarding the
maybe not showing boat locations.
School, how long does the administration expect that investigation to take, and will the White House or the Department of Defense release a full report of its findings once the investigation is complete?
The Department of War will do that. The investigation continues, and as the president said yesterday at his press conference, he will accept the conclusion of that investigation, whatever it may be. We'll go to the back row for some love.
Dumb question.
Sure, in the
It's
back,
just
with the glasses.
The school explosion again.
Regarding the shield of the
Sitting
Americas.
down.
Caroline, is there
and then you can go, but go first.
Okay, thank you.
Is there an update regarding
You have rough real estate back there, so I'm
is
trying to give you
is
some
there
love.
an update regarding Cuba, and also is an economic deal imminent?
Cuba.
Sure, I don't have any updates on Cuba for you today. Obviously, this is something the administration is actively dealing with. The president's made it quite clear, it's his belief, based on fact, that the Cuban regime is bound to fall. The country is obviously in a very weak place, economically speaking. The people
Cuba's
are crying
done.
out for help.
It's over.
And the president believes and knows that the Cuban regime wants a deal. So as you know, Secretary of State Rubio has been engaged in those conversations as directed by the president.
Yeah, he's going to take it over.
For you today, though.
Thank you, Caroline. Regarding the Shield of the Americas, the initiative by President Trump this weekend, big names, a lot of countries, but some notable absences. For instance, Colombia, which is a key ally with the United States in terms of counter-narcotics.
Cuba is already a humanitarian crisis. Yeah, Cuba is a shithole.
Why wasn't Colombia invited to the Shield?
Massive shithole.
I don't think we're seeing the level of cooperation we quite want to see yet from the Colombian government to invite them to the Shield of America's event and pact, but we certainly hope that this newfound organization will expand and we can continue
it's bad,
to invite
that's why I heard.
additional member countries.
I heard the same thing.
There was quite a few countries there. I believe there were 17 countries represented, 12 heads of state with the president over the weekend.
They're going to get the love.
They
They're going to get
signed
it.
a defense agreement with all of our militaries to emphasize the need to combat drug cartels through Latin America and the Western Hemisphere, and ultimately, of course, to curb the illegal trafficking of drugs to the United States, which is the president's
That's the main
utmost
focus,
priority
right? Yeah.
in all of this.
Should be the
so
main
it was
focus.
a great event on
be.
Saturday, and we look forward to the coalition expanding. Kelly in the back.
Caroline, thank you. Good to see you. I want to get back to another question that was asked earlier. It talked about the political aspects, but there's also the ideological and the spiritual aspects of what Iran has said
for
47 years. Death to America, death to
That's
Israel.
bad. That's really bad.
And we've just
the death to
talking
America
about
thing.
the fact that terror has been around the world. Iran has been the nexus of that in so many ways. Has the president stated clearly to the American people why this is such an imminent threat in order for Democrats on Capitol Hill
I think the messaging isn't very good about Iran.
And the American people
honestly.
to understand how imminent the threat
I think it's actually really bad.
I think he has, Kelly. I mean, you've heard from
No,
the
I don't
president
agree.
on an almost daily basis over the course of the past
I don't
10
agree
days.
at all.
You've heard it from me at this podium. You've heard it from the Secretary of War, the Secretary of State,
You
the
Kelty
Vice
today?
President of the United States.
That's a surprise.
The president's top cabinet and his officials have been repeatedly explaining to the American public the threat
Don't listen
that
Barger
Iran
off
has
Cuba
posed
after we
to our
stabilize
country
them?
in
Yeah, of
this
course.
moment, but of
That's
course
the
over
point.
the course of the past 47
That's the whole
years.
point.
And their words, again, chanting death to America, speak for themselves.
Shouldn't do that.
Go ahead. You can follow up.
Why the division within the American people? I realize that we have the people are talking about the War Powers Act, they're talking about all kinds of issues, but have people forgotten
Doesn't matter
just
when the
how
media's against
imminent that threat was? If they keep saying death to America and death to Israel, they mean it.
Look, I don't think the American people have forgotten, but I think Democrats on Capitol Hill, they have not forgotten.
They don't forget. It's not they forgot, they
with
agree.
this resistance
They hate
to
America.
President Trump on everything that
That's
they
the
do.
reason why they wanna bring in foreigners.
They can't even rally behind the common sense, bipartisan, long-standing principle of the United States.
I mean, it's not even a question,
that
duh.
Iran absolutely
Like,
poses a
obviously.
threat to the United States, that Iran is the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, and I think that's reflected again in their voting pattern. In 2023, every single member of the House of Representatives, with the exception of one, I believe the final vote was 412 to 1 in 2023 for a resolution condemning Iran as the world's state leading sponsor of terror. And now in
I feel like everybody knew
year,
this.
Under this president,
Now we're
in
switching up.
2026, 53 Democrats voted against that exact same resolution with the exact same language. I don't think that's a change in the threat that Iran has posed to the United States.
They're bombing here in Qatar.
I think it's
We'll
a
look at it
change
after
in
this.
the Democrat Party's thinking and their
I'm sure there's been
vicious
multiple
hatred
Iran
for
crash
President
outs.
Trump. Danny. Sure.
National threat level, following on Kelly,
What?
what's the national threat level right now because of this death to America, death to Israel issue?
I believe the Department of Homeland Security
threat
and the FBI
level?
have repeatedly and continuously
Infinity.
provided updates on the
It's
threat level
orange.
to the homeland. I don't
Threat
want to speak
level
on
orange.
it out of turn from up here.
Whatever
but of
you
course,
think that means,
the
that's
federal
what it is.
government is continuing
Orange.
to coordinate and partner with local law enforcement agencies across the ground to
Being
thwart
asked the US for
potential
COVID?
threats to the homeland.
People
This is
wear masks
something
if they're
the
sick
administration
sometimes.
obviously takes very seriously. We
South
are
Korea,
thwarting
they do that shit all the
threats,
time.
that frankly most Americans don't know about because they never make headlines, but that's the great work that the Department of Homeland Security is doing, and it emphasizes
Orange
and
like
underscores
Trump?
the
Yes,
point
he's
of
the
why
threat.
Democrats need to fund and reopen fully the Department of Homeland Security right now. Danny.
School. Why did President Trump say yesterday that Iran may have Tomahawk missiles when there are only 3 other U.S. allies plus the U.S. that have those missiles and therefore could...
Look, again, as the president said yesterday, he will accept the conclusion of this investigation by the Department of War. I know there's been a lot of speculation in the media about who may be responsible
It
for this.
doesn't
We're not
matter
gonna
who's
get ahead
responsible for
of
bombing the
Department of
school.
War and the conclusion of that investigation. The president has a right to
It doesn't
share
matter.
his opinions with the American public, but he has said he'll accept the conclusion of that
If they say
investigation.
Iran
And
did it,
frankly,
they're going to say
we're
that
not
the
gonna be
government's
harassed
lying.
by the New York Times, who's
They'll
been
only
putting out a
accept
lot of
the
articles
outcome
on
that the
this,
government's wrong.
making claims that have just not been
That's
verified
it.
by the Department of War to quickly wrap up this investigation because the New York Times is calling on us to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Carolyn, with the
It's a moot point, yeah.
currently under a partial Democrat shutdown, does the administration have any specific concerns about potential impact on Homeland Security?
Matters to make the narrative more
or
negative?
intelligence monitoring of sleeper cells inside the United States? And do you have any comment on the bombing, the two individuals that bombed
Epstein
New York City,
paradox?
or tried to?
Yeah, it was absolutely despicable to see that attack in New York City. I know the FBI is investigating.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Department of Justice.
The other
and
terrorist
SDNY have
attack.
announced they are charging
The
those
ISIS
two
Andes.
individuals and alleged terrorists, and I know they won't rest until justice is sought in this case. Daniel. Daniel,
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Caroline. Appreciate it. Millions of Americans are filing taxes for the first time since the president signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act into law. New reports say that new IRS data says that the average federal tax refund is around $3,800, a little bit up from the last period of last year. Does the president believe that the average federal tax refund increasing this year could provide a little bit more economic growth? Something that he's been very focused
That'd be
on
good.
As the year progresses.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and Americans
obviously.
are going to start benefiting from the fruits of President Trump and Republicans'
We talking about the
labor,
Antifa guy kill a
through the
cop?
passage
No, I
of
didn't
the
see
One Big
anything about
Beautiful
that.
Bill and these historic tax cuts. We are midway through tax season, so just to provide an update from the Treasury Department that just went out moments ago, nearly 63.5 million tax returns have been processed thus far. 45% of the anticipated total number of tax
What is
returns
this?
by
No,
April
Matt, you
15th,
link me
so don't
this.
forget to file your taxes, people. And the average refund this year is more than $3,700. And we know that more than 27.5 million individuals who have filed their tax returns thus far
IRS sent me
have
a letter.
claimed at least one of President Trump's
sent me a
new
letter.
tax cuts. Over 3.5 million returns have claimed
They said
no
that I
tax
owed
on
them
tips. Over 15.5 million returns have claimed no
$390,000.
tax on overtime. Over 9.2 million returns have
It's like
claimed
4
the
days
enhanced
ago.
deduction for seniors. And over 690,000 returns have claimed no tax on car loan interest. And another amazing statistic, nearly 3.5 million Trump accounts have been opened
Have to do another
for
fucking
children
sponsor
in our
stream.
country thus far. So we look forward to, I know the Treasury Department continues to look forward to seeing these checks go out the door and into the pockets of
Do you?
hardworking
I don't know.
Americans. And the president will be meeting with them himself tomorrow on the road in both Ohio and Kentucky. And we look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you, guys.
You could write that off. I can't write it off, bro. Like they got me on. And so, yeah, you owe us a house. I mean, yeah, I got the letter and like, I'll check my mail and I'll see like, oh fuck, there's another letter from the IRS. And like right now I have like my taxes that are getting managed by like, a place. And so it's like, I'm not stressed out about it, but it was like, I opened it up and I like texted them. I'm like, hey, just wanted to let you know, I got a letter. It said I owe $390,000. They're like, oh, okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I said, all right, cool. And then I just went back to playing video games and I haven't thought about it since then. And they never called me about it. So like, I'm assuming that things just kind of worked themselves out, right? I mean, they did.